said.
Yes, big up. Welcome to Football Heritage TV. Apologies if just as that show was starting, you just heard Corey say dickhead, which he started to say it. Apologies for Corey's language. Absolutely dreadful.
Oh no,
guys,
filthy mouth, me.
Filthy. Welcome to Corey. Welcome to Stel. Welcome to Lubo. And welcome to Marlon. I won't do all the pleasantries. I'm just going to take it that everybody is okay. Guys, I just thought we'd do a little pop-up show on a Friday night. We've played Man City. We've got Alkmaar coming up. Archie Gray's won an award, and Lubo couldn't be happier than a pig rolling around in the biggest amount of shit you've ever seen. So we've got a few things to talk about. Let me start. I was going to start with you, Marlon. I'm going to start with you, my main man, Marlon. Marlon, after the other day, it kind of feels a bit like we'd won a couple in a row, and then we go in and put in that performance, and it felt a little bit deflated again. Are you looking forward to this season ending, Marlon? And what did you make about the Man City game?
Sam, I wanted the season to end after we got knocked out of the cups. Yeah. Of course. But I don't know. The whole Spurs situation right now, I don't know whether I'm coming or going with it. It's just all over the place. So I don't even know how to answer that question. What a question to start me off on.
Well, you know, it is what it is. I mean, look, anyone feel free to jump in. I mean, listen, I know that lots of people are excited about the Europa League, but this isn't my first time or any of your first time being in the knockout stages of Europe. It doesn't feel any different to me than it ever has before. Is anyone... should we be excited? Let me change that up, guys. Anyone can talk. I don't want to go round in circles. Should we be excited for the rest of the season, or is it just literally going out with a damp squib at the moment?
It's pretty much died on the sword now, hasn't it, this season? To be honest with you, Europe is not really something I'm getting excited with. And every weekend turns around, it's either a loss or me just sitting going through the motions being a Spurs fan at the moment. Once this season's done and this manager's gone, I'll be happier.
Savva, can I sum it up quickly? Can I sum this up really quickly? Right. First of all, I just want to quickly say it's an honour to be on a show with Marlon. I truly am blessed and privileged. And I want to thank my mum, my dad, God, and everyone else for making this happen. But other than that, the first half against Man City is every piece of evidence as to why we are not going to win the Europa Cup. The second half against Man City is every piece of evidence why our fan base is clinging on for dear life as to why we might win it. So that's how I will sum up the entire season. The first half and second half of Man City is why the fan base, in my opinion, is away with the fairies, but may be justified. But at the same time, the evidence is clear. Any European side that is defensively savvy, that knows how to lock it down, and has got some killers up top to take the chances they create, they will knock us out of Europe, and that day will come. And that's the best way I can describe it. The first and second half sums it all up for me regarding why we suddenly think, after crashing out of every domestic cup, we're now going to win the second best competition in European football.
Lubo, let me ask you. I mean, I think what Stel said there, I think he's 100% put it really well in one sentence. Do you feel the same? Because the first half versus Man City really did show just how tactically awful we are as a football team. And the second half, where we have a 15-minute spell where we look like we might equalise, gets everyone going again. Is Stel right? Or is he just the most negative Tottenham fan in the world? So
Why is Marlon? Why are you nodding your head, Marlon?
I'm about to get you, Stel. I'm about to get you.
He's like, yeah.
You start on me, I'll start on your back.
Is Stel right?
Well, first of all, can I just say, I want everybody who hasn't subscribed on here tonight to subscribe. because I am touched that my mate Savva has, at the last minute, put on an Archie Gray celebration podcast tonight. So big up, Sav. That is a blinder. So anyone who sees me and Sav have these feisty exchanges, there's nothing in it. This is proof. So I'm very, very touched today. So really,
what was that program, Lubo, where they used to get the big red book? Was it This Is Your Life?
This Is Your Life.
Yeah. Michael Aspel.
Archie Gray. We'll get to Archie Gray. Don't worry, we will get to Archie Gray. You can have your...
Listen, I couldn't start on the show without expressing my appreciation. What I think about Wednesday, I thought the first half was dreadful, wasn't it? It was awful. The second half, first 15 minutes, there was not much going on. I thought the last half an hour, I thought we had a few chances, could have got something out of the game.
Yep.
It was one of those, wasn't it? Will I look forward to the end of the season? Probably depends on how we do in Europe. The league's finished pretty much. I mean, whether we won, lost or draw on Wednesday, we weren't going to be challenging for Europe. I mean, I went through you look at the away games. You got Chelsea, Villa, West Ham, Liverpool, Wolves, and who am I missing? There's one more, Fulham.
West Ham. Do you say
Fulham? You got Fulham, West Ham, and Chelsea in London. You got Liverpool, Villa, and Wolves out of London. So for me, maybe 4 points we'll get from those 6. And at home, you've got Southampton and Palace. I would hope we win. Brighton, Bournemouth, and Forest maybe a point. So for me, I'm looking at 13 points tops, which gives us 46, which puts us nowhere near a Conference League place. So for me, Wednesday, although I hate losing, it wasn't. It wasn't a fatal defeat. For me, next Thursday is more important. But Wednesday summed up for me everything that is wrong with our manager. To start with, you look at City carved out 3 big chances in the first half. All came down via Doku.
3?
But major big chances, clear-cut chances.
Clear cut.
I'm going to go with 5 or 6, but okay, we'll go with 3.
If you try, but most of them came down one side, didn't they? Which was
always
Doku's side.
Yeah.
Had he put Spence on that side, then the domination that City showed and breaking through all the time that built momentum for City throughout that first half, it may have been a different game. So you got Spence there, Spence out, and Porro there. Johnson. I thought we played with 10 men. So for me, he should have started with Spence. He should have pushed Johnson into the middle instead of Tell. It wasn't a game for Tell. And I would have played, I suppose, Kulu. Porro and Kulu needed a rest, and they needed a rest more than a week. I know it's 8 days between games, but those boys are knackered, and 8 days isn't really going to help too much.
Yes, it is. yes, it is. Who are we kidding, Lubo?
If these guys are knackered, Sav, 8 days, a week's not going to do much, is it?
Listen, we're going to have to disagree immediately, me and you, on this, Lubo. I'm sorry, those boys could have played on Wednesday night, knowing that we're not playing till the following Thursday. He could have wrapped them in cotton wool for 7-8 days. Given them massages, I don't know, happy endings, I don't know, whatever you want to do with the players. But
based on current form, Sav, do you think Porro and Kulu deserved a place? I don't. I think they've been
Pedro Porro doesn't deserve it, man. He's just there because it's the manager's pet, isn't it, really?
Kulu played well last game against Leicester.
Did he? Did any of them play well against?
Scored a pretty good solo goal. More than what Brennan Johnson and Odebert and Matez.
You mean Ipswich? Ipswich?
Yeah, against Ipswich, sorry, yeah.
I mean, everything that's wrong with this team at the moment is going back to when Savva would bring up the picture of the high line against Chelsea just nearly over 2 seasons ago now. Everything wrong with our team and our tactics goes to that high line.
And nothing's changed, Corey. Do you know, obviously that high line, which, it's a shame I don't still have the picture available. Oh, hang on. Yeah, of course I bloody do.
There it is.
I get that was the extreme and we were down to 9 men and it was just crazy. But again, I think the tactics against Man City, they're one of the only clubs that have out and out wingers. And what I mean by that is wingers that actually do what wingers do. Beat a man, run at them on the outside. Most other people, you look at Mo Salah, he wants to cut in. Sonny wants to cut in. All these people. You've got two wingers but you've got two wingers that love running at fullbacks, and our manager doesn't know how to snuff that out. The one game where I want Kulu as a defensive-minded winger to be sitting in front of Porro to protect him, he's not playing. That's the game Johnson plays there. The one game I want Jed Spence at right back or left back to cover Savio, or he just gets it all wrong. And again, the midfield three, Lubo, it almost felt to me that he went for the three that are easier on the eye, right? Now, don't get me wrong. We could talk about how good Sarr and Basuma are or not all day long. But what they do is they offer legs and they will break up play. He's gone for the three players that don't do that against a midfield of Kovacic, Nico, with with Marmoush running from deep. And I just thought he got everything criminally wrong again.
It just goes to show how tactically inept this manager has been. I mean, I said it 18 months ago when we first got him. This manager isn't going to do it for us and he's going to make us look stupid. The amount of hate and crap I had thrown on me that time I came on and said that to you 18 months ago, Sav, is now being proven to fruition, really, isn't it? The guy's taken us from 5th to 13th, out of 2 cups in the space of 4 days, and I don't care about the whole is he doing it right or isn't he doing it right thing anymore. This guy is continuously getting injuries through players. He's got a track record of it at clubs previous. And even Eric the Lion came out and said this guy doesn't do coaching right. I mean, how far down this rabbit hole do we need to go with this manager before the fans wake up and think, oh, yeah, maybe he isn't good enough?
The thing is, Pep changed his system as well, because he lost 2 games to Spurs in the season. We were saying this on my channel. If you notice, Man City weren't high intensive pressing the whole game. They actually backed off a bit. And what they did was their defense wasn't high up, it dropped. And what they said was, look, we'll give up a bit of possession to you, Spurs. But when you do try and break on us, we're deeper, because we know if you get in behind, that's where we're in trouble. And they actually nullified us. Pep tactically changed his team to... He didn't change his strategy. His strategy of possession-based football remained. But his tactic was, let's just drop it a bit, give them space in front of the back four, but not behind. And do you know what? Ange didn't know what to do. And for 45 minutes, and the way Ange adapted was second half, he got the forward wide players to drop, and they doubled up on Doku and they doubled up on Savinho, and they didn't get as much joy. And then Spurs kind of got into the game a bit as Man City tired. So I think tactically, Ange actually got outdone by Pep. And Pep proved, because we get it on this channel a lot when people say Pep's overrated, I think Pep proved he's still a world-class manager.
He is. He's just having that downturn with the players at the moment. He's got to recycle the old guard out, getting players in now that are hungrier. They can do it right, whereas teams like us, we seem to think we're doing it right, but we're doing it wrong completely.
They need to rebuild. They're still 4th. So,
Oh, they'll finish this
on the
season
back of a bad season.
They'll probably finish 2nd. They finish 2nd.
They'll probably win the FA Cup.
Yes, they're the overwhelming favourites for the FA Cup, by the way.
Everyone's out now, aren't they? Everyone's out.
I looked at this earlier because I did a video on my other channel, and you can get Man City. The lowest odds you can get Man City is 6-4. And then the next team is Newcastle United at 7s or 5s to 1. Like, they are so far out there as the favourites. But I think Stell's right there, right, guys? Like, Man City, for me, almost did to us what Newcastle did. If you want to remember back to the Newcastle game, at 2-1 at White Hart Lane. I'll always call it that. Sorry, always. Right. The first half, Newcastle had a lot of the ball, a lot of chances, a lot more overloading in midfield. Second half, were a bit deeper and said, go on, have the ball. They were happy for us to have the ball because they know that we don't create too much. City, I almost felt, did that, which is very rare for a Pep team to do that. But he figured it out. He's figured it out from playing Ange's teams. If I do this, and I thought defensively they were excellent. Yes, we could have scored a couple of goals. I'm not saying we couldn't, but they also could have nicked a few in that second half going the other way. I just think that the whole thing for me is, Marlon, if I go back to what Stel said there, that for me is why these better teams in Europe will win, because their coaches adapt. Our manager just simply can't adapt to his surroundings.
No, this is always going to be a problem, because if you look, everyone says Ange's European record is awful. He done crap at Celtic in Champions League and in the Europa League when he got there, and this will always happen when you come up against big coaches. And has he learned? I don't know. I don't know. I know a lot of people say he hasn't, but we'll see how these next few games go, because he's got Europe to prove himself. He now has Europe to prove himself. My biggest issue is that if we come up against Frankfurt or Olympiacos, even Lazio to a certain extent, how's he going to cope? I really can't see how he's going to cope against those teams. And it's just a case of, will his team be able to get him out of trouble? Because for me, resting Jed Spence against City will always be criminal. I don't get it. If he was going to rest, and the reason why I'm going to say it's shocking is because if he's going for the rest excuse, why the hell was Bergvall in the team then? Because Bergvall's played more than Spence over the last month, probably played more minutes. But yeah, Bergvall's sitting in a position which was going to do the most running, so it made no sense.
Well, just look at the
two.
Sorry, man.
Carry on.
I was going to say, look at both of what Anne just said about Spence over the season. At the beginning, I made it hard for him. And then coming out with, once Destiny's back and Porro's back, I don't think he'll be in the first team. I mean, what has this kid got to do to prove that he's a better choice to pick? He's come on 3 games, 2 man of the matches, a goal, assist. What's the other 2 done? Just makes me shake my head.
Can we talk about Spence for a minute then? I'm seeing the people that can't ever seem to blame Ange for anything are all coming out going, he needed resting. Jed Spencer started 9 games of football this season, right? Now, I don't know about you guys, but imagine, like, I'm sure most people have got normal jobs that are not footballers. Imagine you only had 9 days of work in your year, and then people telling you, "Oh, I'm tired." I don't believe in any way, shape, or form, because this whole nonsense, like I'll say it, like Lubo said there about resting, blah 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 blah. If you really needed to rest Son and Kulu and Spence, why did they come on? If they needed to be rested, why on earth would they come on? Guys, for me, that's right up there with some of his worst decision making I've seen from this manager. Anyone got any argument?
Yeah, but it makes a mockery of the whole game that we played against Man City last year, where he goes, I want to win every game, and then he goes and puts out that lineup. It just completely baffled me to why, when we actually wanted to, half of us didn't even want to win that game because of what it meant, and he's coming out saying, no, I want to win every game, and then you go and put that lineup against arguably the champions, and you expect to win, and that's the bit where we go, okay, you are taking Europa League seriously, but that's not for another 8 games. Because you went and done a shit show against Villa, we've got to rest. And so I didn't really understand the whole resting element. He could have rested Son. Son didn't have to play. Son's old, and yes, I get he's been playing for the last 2 months every 3 days. And I get that kind of with Kulu as well. But I do agree. But when you got Porro and Johnson, because I think we said this on Sunday, I think half of us, like me, you, Lubo, and Danny Kiriaki was on as well, and we all said you can't have Porro and Johnson together. You just can't do it, and especially against Doku, because that was our biggest worry. And then he goes and does it, and then we see what the first half is about. What I don't get is everyone's talking about, in the second half we could have brought it back to a draw. Man City should have been 3 or 4-0 up in that first half if they took their chances like they were supposed to.
Yeah.
this is a totally different conversation, and I think the first half needs to be addressed because Ange got lucky, and that is all it was. Ange got lucky that Man City never finished their chances because we'd be totally having a different conversation here today, and because of that lineup.
And that's where that decision to put Porro in instead of Spence was the game changer for me. That was the difference. You know, when you look at the facts, City won 1-0. Doku came down the left, bamboozled Porro, put the ball in. Haaland stuck it in the back of the net. Plus the other chances that Doku created first half. So for me, that decision cost us the game.
But Savva said earlier, you can't. It was the Kulu. Kulu should have been on that right if you're going to play Porro, and if you're going to play Spence, then play Johnson. He shouldn't have done both, and that's a clear tactical error.
It was just poor. I mean, and to have Werner instead of Moore on the bench. I mean, don't
get into that, Lubo.
Then when you're chasing a goal in the last few minutes to put Werner on instead of Scarlett, I mean, mad. Just
the thing that's got me with that is Porro got put in his arse by Doku in that first half. You know, the guy's meant to be a defender. He's meant to have some strength about him. Do you really think Spence would get put in his arse like that? I don't think he would.
The thing is, right, we're saying we were lucky in the first half. It should have been 3-4-0. We were lucky in the first 20 minutes against Ipswich away. And we were lucky against Man United that they were awful at finishing their chances because that could have easily been a draw. And this thing about resting players, if you're resting players, then why the hell is Spence, who doesn't get any minutes, not given a chance? The only number 9 in the squad on the day was the only player that didn't come on in the forward lineup. When we needed a goal and we needed a number 9, the only number 9 stays on the bench. So why is he there? It made no sense whatsoever. But we brought in Tell, who I'm telling you, and I'm saying it on all the channels, he's not a striker, is proving game by game he's not a striker, plays as the striker.
Do you know that, Stell,
if Scarlett got the 4 Premier League games that Tell has got, I bet you Scarlett would have at least got 1 goal by now. At least one.
Do you know the worrying thing about what you've just said there, Stell? And I agree with it all. I agree with it. Just because I think it's worrying doesn't mean I think you're wrong. It's all I keep hearing from people is, we only ever lose when we lose by 1 goal. But how many opportunities do we give up? It's truly frightening. Brentford, how many did they have? 20 odd? United, this really crap Man United had something like 17 attempts at our goal on our own ground. You look at Man City, and Marlon is absolutely bang on. We're having a very different conversation. Do you know what? Thank the footballing gods, everyone, that Erling Haaland wasn't fit. You could see he wasn't fit. He wasn't sharp at all. On his day, that's 3 or 4-0 by half time. Savio's put one over the bar. Haaland's missed a couple of chances. Keeper's made a couple of saves. And we're having a very different conversation. As it stands, what I'm seeing is, the second half we rallied. Aren't we? Isn't everyone else getting a bit sick of rallying? That can't be our tactic to rally when we're losing.
You can't keep going 1-0 down in games time after time after time again, because that's what's costing us. It's do you know what it is? Spurs under Ange, we're not hard to beat. We don't make ourselves a difficult team to beat. That's the bit that needs to be fixed. But unfortunately, because we don't focus enough time on the training pitch, and I can see it on 1v1 defending and defending as a unit when out of shape, teams know how to get into us. And this is our Achilles heel, which is why I don't see us being successful in Europe this season. And by the way, I just wanted to caveat what I said about Matthias Tell, because I get a lot of hate for this. I'm not saying Tell is rubbish. I'm not saying he won't develop. I'm saying he's not a number 9. I don't see the way he moves and the way he strikes the ball. He doesn't look. I might not be Slanky's fan, but I can see he's a number 9. I can tell he's a number 9. Yep. I really don't see a number 9.
Tell is a 19-year-old kid that we've gone and got on loan, and our fans did what our fans always do. They've lost their mind. We've bought it. If you go and buy a loan player, surely, let me come to you, Lubo. Surely, if you go and get a loan player, the whole idea of a loan player is that they help you out now, immediately. They come in and hit the ground running.
Yeah,
we can't even get a loan player without it being a child.
Well, like Danzo, that's what he's done. He's hit the ground running. It works.
That's right. That's right. But, you know, I've said again with you guys, Tell was not the player to buy. You know, you're picking up a raw 19-year-old kid who has played 3 games in 4.5 months. That's it. He's not match fit, so it's going to take him time. It's going to take him time to get up to speed. The Premier League is much faster than the Bundesliga, so he's going to. So it is quick. It's more 100 mile an hour, isn't it? Don't you think?
I watch a lot of Bundesliga. I feel like these comparisons between the Premier League and other leagues, I feel like is getting closed by the. Either
I'm not saying better. I'm not saying better. I'm just saying
either way, you're right, Lubo. You're right. You're 100% right.
So for me, Tell was just part of again another kamikaze, not structured transfer policy for January. We bought a goalkeeper we didn't need. Austin had come in, played well. You've got Keely and Gunter coming through behind. You know, for another year or two, Austin would have been a good number 2 for Vicario. You know, while we see how the 2 kids progress and develop. That was a waste of money. Waste of time bringing in Tell. We needed someone that was going to score 10, 12 goals for us this season. And unfortunately, he's not doing it now. Whether he's
Lubo, what's the point of
or a winger? I've got no idea.
Lubo, what's the point of Lancashire and Scarlett? They get minutes in Europe. They get to play in Europe. Why don't they get at least a chance in the Premier League when we need someone up front? I can't get this over my head. You see Lewis Kelly and Yanweri at Arsenal, they get given a crack. Why can't we give any of ours a crack?
Still, why does he play wing backs at fullback who finish up inverted? Why does he play Maddison virtually on the halfway line? He plays Johnson on the wing when he's an inside forward. He plays Sonny out wide when he's an inside forward. He won't play Gray at centre midfield. The whole thing's a farce. The whole thing is an absolute joke.
Had to slip his Archie Gray into the conversation.
How did he get Archie Gray in that conversation? Come on, he was right up until that point.
Yeah, he was doing well, wasn't he? He was doing well.
He is the first team regular. And he is young player of the year. So yeah,
we'll get to
only London.
Only London. You're quite right. Only
the London Young Player Award. I wonder what you have to do to get to that.
I mean, but do you know what I mean, guys? When I look at it, and the difficulty is, as YouTubers, in football fans in general, I think it's really difficult that when we talk about a player, if I talk about Tell, people go, "Oh, but he's young, give him time." And I'm like, I'm not having a pop at him. I'm having a pop at the club because that's what we decided to do as our big signing in the summer at loan. You're not telling me across the whole of world football, players that were available to either sign or go on loan, that a 19-year-old kid that, like Lubo said, has played like less than 200 minutes in the last 4 or 5 months. That's the guy we went, you know what? Yeah, that's the guy. And I feel sorry for the lad. For me, he should be learning, being coached, mentored somewhere before sending him out on loan. Anyone seen any positive with Tell? Like, I know is he a forward? Is he not? But I'm just not seeing anything, if I'm honest.
Savva, he's got tidy feet at times, and he can get his head up and find a pass once in a while. I thought maybe, you know what? Say again?
He's better than Werner. You can see he's better than Werner straight away.
I'm better than Werner.
My 5-year-old's better than Werner. My son's better than Werner, and you can't kick a ball.
But no, I think Tell has got capabilities, and I've seen some clips of him at Bayern when he has featured, and he looks like this. I don't think he's rubbish. I think there is a player somewhere in there, but I thought maybe, do you know what? He's probably better suited to a 10. But the way he gets pushed and knocked off the ball, I thought he hasn't got the physicality for it. So for me, I think he's a wide inside forward that needs time to develop. But like you said, there's 4 months left of the season. We signed him end of January. So February, March, April, May. He's got 4 months to come in and show us why he's come in. At the moment, he looks no more than the French version of Danjuma, right? Is he French? Tell? I think he's French, isn't he?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
He's the French Danjuma. This is exactly what we did with Danjuma. Like, it's a bit random. I would have rather, if we're not going to go and buy an attacking forward, give Scarlett, give Lancashire, give Mikey Moore a crack at the whip. Give them the minutes, and just at least we can then say, do you know what? They got given a chance, it didn't work, or bloody hell, what a stroke of luck that we've got these injuries. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known how good these youngsters are, and they're turning out to be quite good. But what we've done is we've sent Lancashire out on loan.
Yeah.
We've told Scarlett, we're going to pull you back from your loan deal so that you can sit on the bench and watch players that aren't a number 9 play in your position when you could have been out on loan actually learning your trade. And we brought in a player that's not a striker to play in the striker who in 4 league games hasn't scored a goal. It winds me up because
he's got an FA Cup goal.
I was told Project Youth, and it winds me up because none of our academy players, not Bergvall, Gray, Odebert's kids that we signed, none of our homegrown talent is getting a chance in this league. They're not.
That's right. And, you look at it, for me, Scarlett hasn't played that many minutes since he came back. He broke the deadlock against Elfsborg, flicked on beautifully for Kulu for the 4th goal. So he's making a small impact within the cameos that he's been given the opportunity to have. So keep it going. Just the manager's hopeless. He is absolutely hopeless.
And you think about it.
Anything that happens this season that's good will happen in spite of him, not because of him.
But Ange, I was going to go into the Dane Scarlett business because when everyone said what an assist he had against Ipswich because he flicked on the header and Ange came out and goes, well, I'm not a person who likes assists. This was the whole. You got to remember when Spence went pre-season and we all told Ange, oh my God, Spence has had a great pre-season, this and the other, and then we didn't see Spence. I've got a strange feeling he's going to do the same with Scarlett because he doesn't like to be told when a player's half decent, and he kind of gets to a point to go, no, I know what I'm talking about, not you journalists. Because it's the journalists asking him the questions. But when it's the whole goes back to the whole Jurgen Klopp, and when the journalists were telling him he needed a goalkeeper and a defender, and he didn't listen, went and got Van Dijk and Alisson, and the rest is history. So, and the journalists are only getting it from elsewhere. So, and after the whole, when you start bringing up a player to Ange, I've noticed, and especially if it's someone he's not playing every week, he tends not to play him after that. He tends to, in spite of them, and the fact that Dane Scarlett did not see the pitch on Wednesday, considering we didn't have a striker, you've got to start asking questions. And look, I don't want this to be the bashing of Ange show, but I'm someone who's trying to stick with Ange, but he's not given me anything to be positive about in the last few games. And
you'll get there, Marlon. You'll get there.
You'll slowly come around, Marlon.
It takes some people a little bit longer.
But and the thing is, I'm not going to sit there and say you lot are wrong because half of the things you're saying, I see. I've got 2 eyes. I can clearly see.
Still.
It's more about I'm one of those. I get the stats and I get everything behind him. I just want it to work. I really just want it to work. And as Savva said, as Savva's pointed out on many occasions, it's feelings for me. It is literally feelings and nothing else. And that's all I'm basing it on. Because everything else, I'm not stupid. I can clearly see.
Don't care about feelings, brother.
Yeah. And I can clearly see the things that are going wrong.
I
can clearly see what's going wrong.
Can I ask you guys then, and before we move on to Lubo's favourite subject. Look, I mean, that game, for me, I think that the thing about that game is that this is a Man City team that are not on fire. Yeah, even though they've picked up results in the last few months after their really difficult 13-14 game period, you can still get at them. This is not vintage Man City. People are saying, oh, Pep's got a world-class squad. This is not a world-class squad anymore. When you look at how young some of those players are, when you look at how old some of the better players are, this is not a world-class squad anymore. And I'm going to bring up the Premier League table, guys. And the reason why I want to bring it up is people are saying, oh, well, we only got to concentrate on the Europa League. But for me, I find this quite staggering. And let me show you why. God, I can't even get us on there. Hang on 1 second. There we are. There we are. Hang on. Let me just quickly refresh that because West Ham have moved up a place. Right. So if you look there, right, guys, had we have won that game, right, we're on 36 points and we would be 7 points off of Europe. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think 7 is a lot to turn around, but not insurmountable. Not impossible to turn that around. From Brighton on 43, we would have been where Palace are on 36. So when people are telling me, oh, we just don't worry about the league now, just concentrate on the Europa League. One, guys, I never know what that means when people say that. What does that mean then? That you just don't put out your better players in any game just because we're only worried about the Europa League? 2, look how tight that all is. Look how tight that all is from Chelsea down to Brentford. How tight it is. Actually, I'll tell you what, if I go higher up the table, look how close that is from Nottingham Forest down to Brentford is 10 points separating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clubs. Why couldn't we have won that game, then beaten Bournemouth, and suddenly you're going, hang on, we're right back there. That's why I'm pissed off that he did what he did. Because all the eggs are now in one basket. Does anyone see what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, man. He's just shot himself in the foot with what he's done here this week. But then are we expecting anything from a manager that's got a loss percentage now of about 53% in 2 seasons? Statistically, the worst manager we've had, and we've had Stellini, for God's sake. Again, it comes down to this guy is just out of his depth, doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't train the players right, and we're just going around in circles every single game. Every game you can tell what players are being played and how poorly we'll play in defence. It's just ridiculous.
So how are we going to climb past 6 clubs then?
We're not.
Yeah, we're not. Of course, we're not. It's all. I understand the way you're looking at it, Sav. But if we look at it realistically, with a manager with no clue, no in-game management, bad team selection, do we really think games at Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham, Fulham?
I understand that, but in the same theory, you're someone who tells me this is a really good chance to win the Europa League. So why is my theory of going up the league table, if we took it seriously, not good, but your theory of we can win the Europa League, it is good? Why is that?
Because I think that Liverpool will get nothing there. You know what? By the time we get there, that may even be the last Sunday in April, may be the week that they win it. If they haven't won
so
it.
we've got something to look forward to.
Closest we get to the Premier League title was
play them, that we'll have to give them that guard of honour thing, as they come out.
That's the closest any of our players get to that Premier League will stand around doing this to the players, well done, lads. Well done.
How Spursy would that be? That I haven't seen.
That's right. Chelsea, we get nothing, Sav. Look at the games. Chelsea, we get nothing. West Ham, that's their cup final.
Chelsea have not been good. Why shouldn't we be able to, with decent setup? Why shouldn't we be able to beat this Chelsea team? This is not a vintage Chelsea team.
It's Tottenham.
We got no.
Sorry, Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur.
Sorry, yeah.
Daniel.
And also, the artist formerly known as Tottenham. Yeah.
How's it going? Even Dr. Tottenham's given up on us and gone off with the rest of the medical team, It's like, fuck this, man. The medical team's I'm going too.
The only games Leicester haven't lost in the last 12 was against us. You're saying, why shouldn't we win at Stamford Bridge? We never win at Stamford Bridge.
I understand, but my point is that this all goes back to the point then. If everyone's saying, well, why should we expect it with this manager? Why are so many backing him then? I genuinely don't know. And to go back to Stell's earlier point, if he comes up against good managers over 2 legs, are we truly sitting there going, well, we're a bottom half Premier League team, but you know what? We'll rock up to Lazio, Roma, Bilbao, all over 2 legs. Look at Man United, right? That Man United team, look how crap that Man United team is. They are level with us in the league. Everyone's saying how shit Man U and their players are. They're level with us, right? They're level with us and should have beaten us at White Hart Lane, right? We might have to play them at some point in the Europa League.
United in the last 3 seasons are still one more than us as well. So that's with a shitter team. That's with a dog wank team.
We'll move on to the Archie Gray thing. But look, I just think the last thing I want to point out here is that guys, where I'm utterly embarrassed by all of this is it's just that defeat column, guys. It's just that defeat column. And 14 defeats in 27 games, for me, that is indefensible. Injuries, whatever, it's indefensible. 14. This crap Man United team have lost 12. This West Ham team have lost 12, right? Everton have lost 9 games. They were one of the 3 favourites to get relegated, and they've lost 5 less games than us, right?
But they always seem to manage to get draws, you know. You look at our draws in the league, 3.
Sure.
Look at teams around us, 6, 11, 4, 5. Like, everyone's got more draws than us, and it's still points. It's ridiculous.
Savva, put it this
if you
way.
can't even get a draw at a team, at a shit team, then don't expect to get a win at a good team.
Let me just quickly finish off what I was going to say, right, guys? By the way, we are 2 defeats away from our worst defeats. Our worst defeats in 25 years. Our worst number of defeats in 25 seasons. Right? As it stands, if we lose one more game, and I hate to break it to everyone out there, there's no way we're going 11 unbeaten. If we lose one more game, this is our worst number of defeats since 2008, 2009, when we lost 6 of our first 8 and had to bring in Redknapp to save us. So just to give people an idea of how bad this is, we're going back to the early 2000s, the late 1990s. That's how bad it's getting in terms of the number of defeats.
And Savva, the worst thing is on that table, Fulham have lost 7 games. That's how many we've lost at home alone. We've lost 7 games at home alone. And I can get the away, I can get defeats at home, but to lose 7 at home, and I think we've only won 5, I think it is. It's not great. It's not great reading, because you shouldn't be, a team like Tottenham should not be losing 7 games at home by this time already. That's the one bit I don't get. It's that your home. We've always been good at home. Even somehow last year we were half decent, but this year, you can't defend that.
Marlon,
not really defend that.
I stopped going to Spurs home games mid-November. I said, that's it, I'm done. I'm not watching this. I was going to sell my tickets every week. I think I went to 1 or 2 games because I pre-agreed and arranged for tickets with friends. And, you know, I'm going to the Bournemouth game because Michael's coming over from Poland and with his brother for his birthday. I said that we'll do a day out, no problem. I booked it months ago. I turned up for I think Man United game. The day of the protest. It was the Man United game, wasn't it? Yeah, we protested. So I went there because I thought we're protesting and there's going to be a protest in the stadium. Right, I'm going. The 2 guys that normally sit behind me, I only ever see them on a match day. That's how I know them. They're like, oh my God, he's turned up. What are you doing here? And I said to him, lads, I checked out, man. I checked out a long time ago. And then they got their phones out. Now, how many games you missed? And we're going through it. I missed, forget the Man United game, right? I missed 1 win since boycotting going to games. 1 win, Marlon. They've sat there and watched us lose and lose and lose and lose. You're right, mate. You're right. 7 losses at home, and I've missed all the games I haven't been to. I've missed them all. I haven't missed anything. I haven't missed a win.
I can't even blame those on injuries, because I believe we'd lost 4 by the time the injuries even happened. So yeah,
Marlon, do you know where we are in the? Do you know where we? Everybody, do you know where we are in the home form table for the season? So if it's just home.
16th or 17th?
16th or 15th? 13th or 14th, is it?
Yeah. 13th, 14th, 16th, 17th, Stel?
Yeah, 16th, 17th, it must be.
We're in the bottom 3.
We're not in the bottom 3. I'm glad to let you know that we wouldn't be relegated in the home form table. We're 14th. We are 14th in the home form table. We have played 14 and got 17 points. Now, I'm going to do that off the top of my head. Is that 1 point? What's that at home? 1.2. 1.2 points a game at home this season. That's where we're at, right? Just to put that in perspective, them lot down the road, they've got 28 points from their home games. Aston Villa, who Lubo always has a dig at, they've got 28 points from Villa Park. We've got 17. We've scored 28 goals at home and conceded 24. So we've got a +4 goal difference. While we're there, away in the away form table, anyone hazard a guess where Tottenham Hotspur are?
13th.
Top 6. Top 6.
Top 6?
13th or 10th. I can't remember which one.
No, it must be. If we are...
No, it must be worse.
No, we haven't conceded. If we conceded 24 at home, we haven't conceded that many away, have we? That's what I'm thinking.
Didn't Savva say
mid-table?
We're 11th. I'm proud to say we're not quite in the top half of that table either. We're 11th, played 13, 16 points. So again, 1 point, whatever it is.
Over 1.2, yeah.
Scored 25, let in 15, right? So anyway,
so we're better on the road then. We're slightly better on the road.
And it'd be cheaper.
Yeah, tickets are cheaper, yeah.
So bad. Guys, it's so bad. And all I get told to me is, yeah, we score loads of goals. Okay.
When? I don't see it.
What?
Once in a blue moon, we might score more than 2.
So not great reading there, guys. As I said, 14 defeats out of 27 is enough to sack, I think, most managers at most football clubs. So, hey, listen, moving on. I've got to start with Lubo, right? I've got to. Before I do, Tony Rodriguez, thank you. Very generous, my man. My Swedish brother who has gifted 5 Football Heritage TV memberships. So big up to you, Tony. I'm sure everybody did say thank you. I've got a bone to pick with people, though. If Tony can be that generous, we've lost 2 subscribers during the show. Apologies. If it's Marlon's presence, I won't have him on again. If it's Marlon that's upsetting you, just let me know. Just kidding, Marlon. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to Tottenham Away and Spurs Kings as well. And Blaine Dev, thank you very much. So big up Savva. I don't think I swore as much as I did on Wednesday. And it's the same areas of our pitch, the flanks, that me, a fat 35 balding idiot who played to Sunday League level, can see a wrong. Blaine Dev, I'm sure that you're not 35. Sorry, probably are 35. I'm sure you're not fat and balding. But it is worrying that most sensible football fans can look at our tactics and say, this is going to happen today. And the one person that can change it all doesn't see it. The one person, even Glenn Hoddle in his commentary said we're a shambles. Like he said, we're just tactically a shambles. But Blaine Dev, thank you very much. Let me just quickly slip in before we go to Lubo on the Archie Gray situation. Guys and girls, next Friday, we will be doing a 24-hour live charity stream starting at 8 p.m. on Friday night, going right the way through to 8 p.m. on the Saturday night. I'm going to set it all up in the next couple of days. It will be posted, but we are going to be doing it for a couple of dog charities. As you all know, dogs are very special to me, and I prefer them to human beings. We're doing that next Friday. So please, if you've got a couple of quid next Friday, just save it for that show. And during that 24 hours, I believe Tottenham are playing. So I will have the live watch along during I'm pretty sure we're playing next Saturday, right, guys?
No, Sunday.
I've completely lied to you, everybody. I will not be live. I will not be doing a live watch along, but there will be Premier League games on the Saturday. So apologies, guys, for the long plug, but really, really big cause to me that I love charity work. Big up to Phil Coys, who's just put in a super sticker as well. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you, and smash the likes. Lubo, Archie Gray is now officially the greatest young player that London has ever seen. Proud dad moment for you?
Archie
Gray's mum getting a good
time
tonight.
I still can't get over you putting on this show for Archie Gray. I think it's fantastic.
I think go get a tattoo of him next, didn't he, on his right arm?
That's what I won't be doing.
Good night, Archie.
Why do I think he's won it? Listen, he's coming to an absolute shit show of a team with no leaders, nobody really guiding him.
No manager.
No manager. I mean, look at this. No system. Left exposed. I mean, I mean, I think you feel sorry for the kid, and he's come in and he's done valiantly under difficult circumstances. You know, most teams, City have got a smooth machine. You know, put Foden in, bring him in, take him out, bring him in, take him out. He slots in with all these top players playing lovely football. And what does Gray do? Comes into this absolute mess. So for me, he's played just seeing that interview that Sky did, I think, with him, and he's one of the 3 kids in Europe that have played more than 25 games. Was it is it Cardioso and Lamel? You mean Lamel of the other 2 that have played more than 25 games that are 18 or younger? I think he's done a great job this season. Listen, he's still developing. He's still got a long way to go. But for an 18-year-old to come in and fill in right the way across the back 4, you know, with no Romero next to him, no Van der Ven next to him, I think he's done a super job. You know, it's all, you know, you got to keep perspective on it, and you got to keep context on it. It's you know, it's a poor show, and he's done well in a poor team. So, you know, full marks to him.
I'll give him that. He has done well in this. He's done well in all of this, but again, there are probably other players out there that are slightly more deserving. Who knows?
Who would you say? Who would you say is more deserving?
That left back at Arsenal, can never remember his name.
He's only played a month though, hasn't he?
He's only played a month.
He's been sent off twice, I think, in that month. I think.
And he's also picked up 2 red cards. There aren't that. If it's just in London, then it's really hard to pick from the teams, because most teams in London don't really show their kids to play, do they?
No.
Can I
probably Gray, yeah.
Can I put Ian, go get some tissues, because you're going to love this, right? You're going to absolutely love this. Can I put a really positive spin on Archie Gray? It's just something I was thinking about looking at the last couple of games, right? So defensively, I don't think he's anything wow. He's made some good blocks, tackles. He's also got rinsed a few times as well. But when he's on the ball, he very comfortably, when the player comes at him, shifts to the side, pushes forward, and then his passing range is actually quite tidy. His long range diagonal passing is really good. But I'm not going to get carried away. But what I'm seeing is a player that is in a position where the whole game's in front of him. So what he does at the back can impact what then goes on in front. He could actually trigger the attacks. So what's the point of me saying this? Just bear with me, guys, right? Savva, I'm going to bring something up, and I want you to share it, and I'll explain it. And this is why I think we might.
You're talking about Lubo getting tissues, and you're going to bring something up. So I'm not sure where this. I'm not sure where this analysis is going.
Yeah, the rest of you got the rest of you. Everyone else can make a cup of tea, right? Right. So what this is, and I can so you can understand. At youth football, they start playing 7-a-side, 9-10. And most teams do this. They play 2 at the back, 3 in the middle, 1 up top. What I used to do, just bear with me, you see where I'm going with this. What I used to do was play 3 at the back, 2 in midfield, and 1 up top. So a triangle.
Christmas tree.
But on the transition, the 4 would push up, the 3 would push up, and then we'd pin teams back, and we'd play in a 1-2-3, and it looks something like this, and it would be high up, and the number 2 would be the last man standing. Now, the purpose of me doing this, and remember, it's about developing a player, not necessarily winning games. We took a lot of hits doing this, but this number 2 is the most important player in the team, because what they cannot do is lose possession of the ball. If they lose possession of the ball, you're fucked. And also, when attacks would come down the flanks here, so let me grab the yellow ball. When the attacks would come down the flanks, this player's running back. Hopefully, this player comes across. This player would swing wide, because if the ball was to come to them, they would then move it here and then look to spring a ball there, or travel with the ball into the midfield and then release it there or there. So this 2 has to be the best football player on the pitch, on the ball. So the best player on the pitch has got to be that number 2 from a technical perspective and from a decision-making perspective. So why am I saying all this? When you go to 9-a-side, 11-a-side, that number 2, you now make them a holding mid or a centre mid. So if you want to develop a future midfielder, the best thing you can do when they're young is play them in a system similar to what I've just shown you and make them the last man standing in a possession-based team. If you look at Spurs now, we try to be a possession-based team that plays out the back. Archie Gray's at the back, and he's showing signs of the things that I would work with my number 2 in my system at a young age. So when that 7-a-side team goes to 11-a-side, my number 2 is now my number 6 or my number 7. I'm seeing traits in Archie Gray. So the point I'm trying to make is this. If you wanted to develop Archie Gray to be a 6, and I'm not saying Ange is doing this on purpose, he might be getting lucky with this, but because Ange was a youth coach, maybe he gets this bit of football. If you want to develop a future 6, the best thing you could do is play him as a 6, but by doing what we're doing with Gray, there's a good chance he's developing a side to the game where he's reading it. He's developing playing under the pressure in the last man standing. So if we do make him a 6 in the future, I think it will enhance him as the 6. And I'm talking from a development perspective, not winning games, because youth football is about development. Winning games should be a byproduct of good development. Ange is about winning games, so he shouldn't be doing this. But I just want to put that forward because when I do see Gray shift to the side, drive forward, ping a pass, I do see a 6 in him, but he's got to improve the defensive side of his game because he's got to be that destroyer that breaks up the play in front of the back line.
But that's the biggest issue, isn't it, still? Because, you're
that
saying,
is an issue, yes, it is.
Yeah, because you're saying if the number 2 loses possession, so if he doesn't lose possession, he's never going to learn from that defensive side of the game. And the biggest problem that I have with Archie Gray is that his defensive side of the game is what we're relying on. And that's why I don't understand why he got London Player of the Year, because when you look at some of his positioning when the ball comes into the box, even with Haaland's goal, he always seems to be in the wrong position defensively. And I don't think that's good enough, ever going to be good enough to be a number 6. And for how many games he's played, I'd have expected him to develop defensively by now. And I feel like he's actually getting worse with it. But on the ball, I agree, he's great. And I think that his position should actually change to a more an attacking player, as you said, a centre midfielder than a DM. Because I don't think he's ever going to be good enough. Marlon,
like I said, when you develop that midfielder, the best way to develop him when he's young is to play him in that deeper role. As long as you're in a possession-based team, if that's what you want to do, you might be right, Marlon. Maybe he's going to be a 7, just maybe. I wouldn't disagree with that, but I've been watching him the last couple of games, and just on the ball, I think there is something. There is definitely something there with him. There's no doubt about it. By the way, I do think he gives the ball away. By the way, I do think he gives the ball away a bit too much sometimes. And I do think, like I've said, defensively he's lacking. But I'm just talking from a development perspective. In 2 years' time, he might be there. I'm not saying he's there now because I don't think he is. But he's definitely showing the attributes of a future midfielder.
I agree with
he's a young lad, man.
I disagree with the passing range. I feel like when I watch him play, his passing looks awful. From my point of view, he passes the ball out of play quite a lot, which is really weird. And his body shape. One thing I noticed yesterday, my uncle messaged me. My uncle used to be the head of development of the academy at Cheltenham Athletic, and he said if you watch Gray play, his body shape when passing to Danso is all wrong. His body shape, he doesn't open his body up properly to pass the ball. Honestly, go back and look at it. People will say, I think I'm mad. He doesn't look. I think where I have the problem.
He passes it like a right back, a full back.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He doesn't open up. He doesn't listen. I'll say what I've said about Archie Gray all year. Listen, I don't care about these silly London awards, whatever. I don't care about all that. I'm sure it's great for him, bro. I need to see this boy play in midfield. I feel like at the moment, I've said this all season, Lubo, you've got to give me credit for this. I've said this all season. I don't know what I'm judging him on at the moment. What I'm seeing is a really adaptable kid that is like, yeah, I'll play there, and brilliant, great. keep hearing it's going to be great for his development, his coaching, but what he's not doing at the moment, he's not learning and developing as a midfielder. And that's the worry for me, is that he's not played for a year for Spurs and Leeds. He's not played at centre mid. That's truly a worry for me.
Savva, when he steps into that role, if he steps into that role, one thing he will have in his locker though is that. By the way, I'm not here to big up Archie Gray. I'm just giving a perspective from a different set of eyes. Yeah. When he does step into that role, when he is asked to do the job of the 6, the one thing that will be in his head is, if the ball gets past me, I know what the centre backs are thinking now because I just did that for a year. It will enhance his game, I believe. I think it will make him a better player, but he's got to be put in that role so we can truly see if it was worth this experiment of playing him.
Even though Ange doesn't play that still, that's another point, right? And this is a big up to my man Chris. Said sounds great, but Ange shows zero signs of ever wanting to play with a 6. That's where I'm not sure.
Well, maybe he becomes a 7, like Marlon suggested. I could see a pathway for that.
Ange can count to 5, skips past 6, goes to 7, right?
Yeah.
1, mate. 2, mate. 3, mate. 4, 5, mate. 7.
Look, Gareth Bale played as a young lad left back for how many years? He got pushed into that role further up, became the best left wing in the world. Archie Gray, I'm not saying he's become the best midfielder in the world, right? I'm just saying.
He hasn't got Harry Redknapp to guide him there, man. He hasn't got
I'm just saying.
Oh, mate, up you go.
I'm just saying, when a young player is taught a certain role, it gives them the opportunity that should they step in a different position, they've got better foundations for that position. Look, another example. If you've got a really good left winger, but he's very biased on his left foot, and you think, fucking hell, man, they're showing you out wide. Put it on your right foot, cut inside, but they're not comfortable on the right foot. How do you develop it? Play them on the right wing and force them to have to use the right foot now. So play them out of their comfort zone. Playing Archie Gray at a young age out of his comfort zone in a role that can enhance the position we want to see him, in most cases, it develops the player better at the youth phase because he's still in that youth phase. And I watch him on the ball and I see a player who actually, he's very composed. He's not scared to make the pass. Some of his diagonal passes forward and some of his progressive passes are on point. But yeah, he's 19. There's lapses in his game. But that's what's got to be fine-tuned out of him now with a good coach. And there's got to be a pathway for him now to be in the role that they really want to play him in. But I do think this will do him some good. Because I just went back to what I used to do with certain players. And I do see it. I do see it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do see how it can happen. That's what I wanted to put forward.
Knowing Archie Gray, you probably won't even be a defender or a defensive player going forward. Because if you look at someone like, so you used Gareth Bale, but you look at someone like Saka, who started at left back. Look where he's playing now. Patrick, what's his name? Dogu's just gone to Manchester United. They said he was a left back and he was actually ripping it up as a forward player. So we could end up in a situation where he ends up being, well, I'm just throwing it out there, but say maybe a number 10 because actually he is very good on the ball. It's just that, as Savva said, he just needs to open up and his passing just needs to get better. Yeah, but you never know. But you never know with Archie Gray. It's like there is a player there, but his position at the moment is the biggest question because we haven't really seen. He's not a great central defender. He's now going to be third choice right back and left back because Spencer's now developed in front of him. So where is he really going to fit in?
One thing I've noticed with young players at Spurs, and this has been for a very, very long time, and the academy before the current guy took over, I forgot his name. Their philosophy was they always believed that their players, the way they develop the youngsters, come into their kind of levels at the age of 21. And I always question them and said, but why? Because other clubs do it at 18, 19. Why have we got away? And they say, look, that's the pathway. That's the way they develop it. So, and if you think about it, how old is Spence? He's 23, 24. Now we're seeing Spence do well.
24, yeah.
Right. So I think with Archie Gray, really, for me, I've personally decided I'm going to judge him when he's at that 21 age. Then I'll make my decision on what this boy is really going to do for us. Because I think right now we're experimenting and we're developing when we want to see results now. We're tired of waiting. We've run out of patience as Spurs fans. I don't want to wait 4 years for Bergvall and 2 years for Odebert and 3 years for Yang. And be patient with Tell. As fans, we're done with it. But I think with Archie Gray, it is going to take another couple of years before we really see what this boy's capable of. But I do see something in him. I
just want to see him in midfield. It's all. I
agree, Savva.
It's so difficult for me because I reckon there's a lot of footballers that you could say, "Oh, mate, could you just go and fill in and do a job there?" And it doesn't matter how good or bad you do, everyone will acknowledge that's not your position. I just want to see him get. Look, if we get knocked out the Europa League and now we can't make Europe through the league, I think that Wednesday's night's games killed it. Surely for the last 5-10 games of the season, you go, right, Gray, you're gonna be in midfield. It doesn't have to be a 6, but you're gonna be one of those 3 central midfielders that plays. And then we can all say, oh yeah, I like that. I like how he reads the game for a midfielder. I like how he presses, how he breaks, how he passes. I find it really difficult to judge that for him first of all, I feel sorry for him that he's got to play for Angepostecoglou. I truly feel sorry for him. I think if he was playing for Iriola, I think if he was playing for Glasner, I think you'd see a real good young player being developed in his position. Look what Glasner did with Wharton. Yeah. Wharton was signed straight into that Palace midfield, right? Did really, really well. Got himself in the England squad for the Euros. We buy a midfielder and don't play him in our non-existent midfield. I'm truly baffled. But hey.
Can I ask you a question of everyone actually about Archie Gray? When Van der Ven, Dragusin, Romero, when one or two of them are fit, we're probably going to play Van der Ven and Romero at the back, or Danzo and Van der Ven, or there'll be a combination of those centre backs. Spence surely can't just be dropped. You've got Porro and Udogie, they're both back now. Ben Davies will come back at some point. Do you think Archie Gray will end up on the bench for the rest of the season? Or do you actually think, right, drop Basuma, drop Sarr, drop Bentancur, let Gray play? What do you think is going to happen? Because I don't know. I actually don't know.
He'll play in front of Spence.
You do bloody know.
Right, left wing. Left wing.
You know, Marlon knows, Lubo knows, my dogs that don't understand life, they know. Listen, if Wednesday night showed you anything about Jed Spence and the way not Jed Spence, but what he wants to do with players, I don't know what Lubo thinks, but for me, that summed up to me. It doesn't matter how well Danso's playing. I'd leave him in there, by the way. I'd leave Danso in there. He does a good job. He gets on with it. Yeah, he's not perfect, but he gets on with the job of defending. We all know when everyone's fit, Gray won't be in that midfield, and Jed Spence will not be one of the 2 fullbacks. Surely,
we all know that he will pick his 13. He'll pick his 11 from 13, the same 13 players.
Yes.
No, the only person I see that's going to get in is Bergvall. I think Bergvall's probably the only one that we probably didn't see in the earlier part that's probably now in that midfield over Sarr and Basuma.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, because they're all fit. No, you're right. Because they're all
fit now, and he's not playing them. So he's probably the only one. But I agree with what you're saying. Everyone else, we know what his starting lineup's going to be. It's going to be exactly what we saw at the beginning.
So you'll have, in effect, you'll have Johnson, Solanke, and Son. You'll have Porro, Udogie, Romero, Van der Ven, Vicario. There's your 8 every week that he'll pick, and then you've got Kulu, Madison, Bergvall. So you've got 3 for 1 there, and then you've got Basuma, Sarr, and Bentancur 3 for your 2, or Bergvall to drop. So you'll have six players vying for 3 places. Or he'll bring Kulu in for Johnson on the right, and that will be it. That will be it, because
you've got Odebert, Solanke, you've got Odebert back as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Can I just chuck a little bit of a spanner in here with the Archie Gray praise for winning the? Why has he won it over Bergvall, who's clearly a better footballer?
The amount of games. I reckon that's it. The amount of games he's played. Nothing else.
And the versatility. It's a good question.
Because if you look
I must be honest with you. I must tell you, Marlon, I personally think Bergvall has a higher ceiling than Gray going forward.
No.
Yeah,
say that again. Say that again. I'm going to film you saying that. What?
I genuinely think.
Put it into a short, Savva.
Wow. I'm turning this into a YouTube short later on.
There you go. I honestly,
Lubo doesn't rate Archie Gray. That'll be the title.
You think you're Alistair Campbell? You think you're a spin doctor here?
It's because
I didn't rate Archie.
Guys, it's a sympathy vote because he's played out of position the whole season, whereas Bergvall's played in his role, right? So
and he's done well. I think he's done okay. Listen, he's been cooked a few times first half. I know City. I think there was a European game down our place where the wing got rinsed. But you know what? He came back second half. He got cooked first 5 minutes against Delat. He had a battle royal with him after that. He came back, doesn't let anybody phase him. And I think it's all, football's not just physical, it's mental as well. And I think that's been taken into account as well. So, but I do think Bergvall is going to be a very, very special player. I really do.
Can we just quickly talk about Bergvall? I'm seeing a lot of different views. I'll start with you, Marlon. A lot of different views about his performance the other night with Man City. I thought he was horrendous. And I've seen people going, oh, Bergvall was good. I'm seeing yet another footballer that it's almost like, that players get a win bonus, Marlon. I feel like our players are on a give the ball away bonus. Like Bergvall, for me, loses possession of that football. It's like he's been learning from Bentancur. Like he done loads of bits. He done loads of good bits on Wednesday night where he wins it. And I'm thinking, just give a simple pass. He does too much. He's like Kulu. He does too much on the ball.
Yeah.
He drives past players, runs into somebody, drives past players, poor lane off.
It's a Swedish thing, Savva. It's a Swedish thing.
It must be a Swedish thing. It must be. But listen, I don't get me wrong. And again, let me caveat this before people go mad at me. You can see it. Like Lubo said, with Bergvall, unlike Gray, I look at Bergvall and I go, he's a natural midfielder. He's a natural footballer.
Yeah.
I want to see that with Gray, but I see it with Bergvall. But for me, it's too much slipping over. He's trying to do too much. And the things that he's trying to do too much of is what people are praising him for. It's the dropping his shoulder and going past a player. You don't need to do that every time because he keeps running into people. I just wonder what you guys thought about Bergvall the other night.
Can I just sum up very quickly? That's down to coaching. And if he has a proper coach guiding him, then, at 19 years old, 18 years old, Gray, Bergvall, they're going to make mistakes, these guys.
Sure.
This is how they learn. But you haven't got a decent coach. And that's the problem.
Are you telling me that? I'm the one that's been telling you it's about tactics and coaching all year.
No, but it is. We know that.
The system for 18 months.
The system has been kamikaze from day one.
Lubo, do you know what he needs? Do you know what he needs to be told, right? And shown. He needs to be told, take less touches, release the ball, move forward, pick it up again, then drive on the second phase. Or beat your man, drive forward and look for a pass that splits the back line either out wide or feed the striker in. Don't do more than that. Your defensive side of the game where you're putting in your tackles, you're getting physical, keep that going. But on the ball, play it, release, run, pick up the ball and then drive, or beat the man, drive and create an assist opportunity for someone else. If he's just told that week in, week out, he works on it, he could become a really, really competent player. Did you see what Pep Guardiola said to Spence? Yeah, Tony, I was only joking. Hey. Did you hear what Pep said to Spence after the game? And then he gave him a clip on the head. Huh?
Yeah.
Stop running or stop running.
He said to him, you don't need to run so much. Like he's saying to him, mate, you're overworking.
Yeah.
This is what I mean.
Overworking in football, come on.
Poch. Well, no. What he's saying is, let the ball do the work more than what you're having to do. Yeah. That's what he's saying. Yeah. So this is where a coach, the difference between a manager and a coach is this. A manager gets a group of people and says to them, right, I'm going to set you up to play a certain way and I'm going to try and guide you through it. A coach can see how one player's decision or technical play, whether it's body shape, touch, movement, skill, can impact the team as a whole. And he can take that one player to one side, work one-on-one with them and refine them. Yeah. Pep is both. He's a good manager and a coach. Poch was a better coach than he was a manager, but he became a better manager whilst at Spurs. And clearly, to me, is a manager with one way, but I don't believe he's a coach of the level we need. And I think that's where it's really, really lacking. Because you can see there's certain players that need refinement and they're not refining because they do the same shit every week.
Still, Sav, can I just say to Terry's comments on here, for simplifying what you're saying, fans of the match, you're watching who's on the ball the whole time, aren't you? So you're actually watching. You're not watching as much players off the ball. You notice when the other team are attacking and when miles out of position, but people will see more of what's going on the ball rather than off the ball. And unfortunately, that's just the way, clubs have analysts who follow players who are off the ball, and that's why the analysts earn their money. I remember there was one, just talking about an analyst. There was one situation I was told. We beat United 3-0. I think it was at home. I think we scored 3 goals in 8 minutes. I think it was the game. It was the second to last season at the Lane, and we beat them late on in April.
IKEA jokes crack me up.
And the week before United had beaten City, and De Gea was hitting. Who's the boy that played left wing? The French boy that they bought for 60 million. His name, United player.
French.
And young
Dalot.
No, I'm going back 8-9 years now. Who do they buy for 60 million?
Oh, Martial.
Martial. De Gea would hit Martial. Martial was flicking on, and one of United's goals came to that. They picked that up. They played Walker right on Martial. They played Dyer in front of Martial, and he didn't make one flick on the whole match. And from one of those drop kicks that De Gea made, the ball came back and Spurs scored one of their goals. That's where analysts earn their money. And we'll watch the game, and we're watching what's going on the ball. We're watching the pass from A to B to C to D, and unfortunately that's we see Bergvall. We'll see Bergvall give a misplaced pass. We'll also see Bergvall drop his shoulder and drive on. I thought he was the only player particularly that was driving on Wednesday night in that last half hour.
I agree.
And he also won a few tackles. What you don't see so much is the players that are off the ball. People don't notice Rodri that much because he's quiet. He just covers so much ground, and he puts the balls in. Kante, these are unfashionable players, but the work they do is so important. It's crucial.
Lubo, I think Bergvall's a 10. I think Bergvall's a 10. I don't think he's. Well. I think we're playing him in a position that isn't him. He's a 10 for me.
Well, you don't have Barcelona looking at the kid at the same time and him coming to us. There's something about that kid, and he's been played out of position again. A lot of our players are literally being played out of position.
And Postecoglou playing people out of position. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought
bring on Doris the tea lady instead of Spence. You watch the next game.
The tea lady only makes coffee at Spurs.
Oh shit! Yeah, can't afford the tea.
No, that's not. She's the cook. She's the
what I will say is, guys, we're going to end the show in the next 3 minutes so everyone can have their Friday night, and I need some dinner and stuff. And what will be interesting? Look, we'll talk more on this on the Spurs review on Sunday night, I suppose. But we have got Alkmaar on Thursday. I fully expect to see Jed Spence in that 11.
Better be.
Don't bank on it.
Don't bank on it, Savva.
Hang on. I'll tell you why I fully expect it. For all the people telling me that the only reason he left out Jed Spence was because he's going to be playing in Europe. If he doesn't, if he does play Jed Spence, which one comes out the team? Is it Porro or Udogie? Because can I be honest with you guys? And I don't think many people will agree with me. I think that Udogie is crap. I think Udogie is a really poor defensive football. He's always out of position. For a strong lad, he's not very strong, if that makes sense. I think his passing is wayward. His positioning for the goal the other night. Who does he start instead of?
Savva
takes off Udogie, yeah.
If we had Poch from 5-6 years ago, I think Udogie becomes a Danny Rose-esque player.
I agree.
Under Ange, I think he's going to absolute shit. I think he's turning into absolute.
So let me ask you then, Stel. This is a really good point, and we will end the show, so I probably shouldn't bring this up right now. But when people keep telling me, in 2 years, Bergvall this, in 2 years, Scarlett this, Gray this, more this.
Not under Ange. Not under Ange.
You say Scarlett this, but we've had Scarlett for so long.
Not under Ange. Not under Ange.
My point is, under Ange, you've seen that Udogie has not progressed in any way, shape, or form in 2 years. He hasn't. He's not good at anything at the moment. Like, he's not progressed. I'm not seeing that Porro has progressed as a footballer under Ange. Sarr hasn't progressed. So how can we say Bergvall, Gray, Scarlett, Moore? How can we possibly think these people are going to progress when we've seen no signs of him developing any of these other players?
I'll tell you why, Sav. I mean, take Spence. He wasn't coached by Ange last season, was he? And look at the difference. look at the difference.
Conte.
Moore has been trained by good academy coaches, not Ange.
Yep.
Massive difference. Gray's been trained by proper people at Leeds.
Yeah, but Lubo, if you don't maintain that, it begins to regress. It's like once you get there, you've got to stay there. To stay there, you need good coaching to keep you there. If you don't have the good coaching, this is what's happening to Udogie and other players.
Isn't it a worry that wherever Ange's been, he's not had a set back staff as well, like coaching team? Wherever he's been,
I've always said that's the biggest issue. Yeah.
I don't see Ange being here at next season. I just don't see it.
I do.
Lubo, stop getting me excited, or I'll have to borrow those tissues of yours.
No,
I just want to do a whip around to get Ange out. I'll stick a fiver in to get Ange.
I think he'll be here next year.
I think me too.
Marlon, this is why we don't invite you on the show more. Why would you say
not because of me, not because I want him to be.
I agree with Marlon. I agree with him.
I've got a strange feeling that the club at the moment, and this goes back to players that are coming in January. I don't think there's many. No matter how much we want to get certain managers in, they will look at this and go, is this really for me right now? And I think that's the reason why we ain't got a new manager in, because even though we had the whole of January and we knew weeks ago that Ange weren't the man, but the club obviously put the feelers out and nobody wanted it, so they've got to wait till the summer now. And I've got a feeling the same thing will happen. This is why the last 2 times we tried to employ a manager, we've gone through 7 or 8 rejections till we land on one. So even when Nuno came, we had 11, and it's not, Nuno's been sacked, Conte's been sacked since then. We went and got Ange in, who weren't our first choice. I just don't think the job is becoming. A lot of people are just not wanting it, and that's
the old
biggest
saying
issue
is
right
it's a
now.
poison chalice now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting to the point where even money.
Man United,
I still think for a good up and coming young coach, I still think it's a great job.
But they'll go to Brighton and Brentford and Bournemouth, because actually when they look at the way their structure is, they can progress there and still probably go, look, company got a big job from Burnley.
Levy has to sack him, right? We all said, well, not we all, a lot of us said in December, that's it. He's done a few more losses. He lost a few more, we kept him. Then we said, right, he's got the cups. If he doesn't win if he goes out the cups, we're done. He goes out of both cups, he's still here. Now it's, right, if he doesn't win Europa, it's but this, but that, and it literally is. We will. I just feel. I think Lubo said it on my show on Monday. There must be some kind of behind-the-scenes conversation where Ange has been given guarantees. He's been given guarantees and assurances you're staying, because that's how it looks to me now. Regardless of what we think, I think they really like him. I think the club likes him.
Still, I think Levy's got a situation. Who brought Ange in? If we go out the Europa and we finish 14th, 15th, 16th, no Europe again, Levy's going to be pointing the finger at Mum. You brought him in. He's your recommendation. This is shit. We've never been this low, in my 25 years. And Munn has to go. Munn has to go. If Ange goes, Munn has to go.
Why would no? Sorry, I can't believe I'm trying to wrap up the show, but I don't believe that because Munn made a mistake by bringing in Ange doesn't mean that Munn has to be sacked. Surely, there are many managers that turn out to not be very good. It doesn't always mean
pretty expensive mistakes. Savva, no Europe, and 15th is a next season. Back to square one.
I agree, but the least of my problems is sacking Scott Munn. Right, I'll be honest with you. I don't care about Scott Munn. I want Angepostecoglou gone, and that's it. Lubo, I tell you what. Let's save this for one of our epic debates on Sunday night, shall we?
Okay.
Because I do want to go and eat. Listen, guys, I've really enjoyed a little pop-up Friday night show. So I hope you all go and spend some time with your loved ones and go and... I'm going to watch The In-Betweeners tonight, if anyone cares. I just thought I'd chuck that out there. I'm going to watch The In-Betweeners.
If you want a suggestion to watch, lads, a suggestion to watch, Netflix, if you got it, Day Zero, De Niro. 10 out of 10 straight away.
Oh, I've got it on my watch list. I have.
I've been the whole thing in a day, man.
How many people have subscribed tonight?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not enough, Lubo.
We've lost 4.
Well, whoever hasn't subscribed up to now has got to subscribe tonight. Great party. Yeah. Thanks again. Look forward to seeing you Sunday.
Yeah. And big up, just quickly, Gaurav, thank you so much for sending me through the illustrations of Frank. I really appreciate that, my man. So thank you for that. Listen, guys, I'll be back tomorrow morning for an hour at 11 a.m. Doing a fan call-in show. So this is a chance for any fan to call in. Doesn't have to be a debate. If you want to debate me on something, cool. If you just want to have a vent, have a moan, it's your chance to come on. That's at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Then we're back on Sunday for the Spurs review in the evening. And then next week, I've got loads on. We've got Spurs playing in Europe. I've got loads on Big Up. Real Madrid versus Atletico. We've got FA Cup watch-alongs. Please subscribe to Marlon at Spurs Kings TV. Please subscribe to Stel at Tottenham Away. Please follow Lubo on X. He loves it on there. And subscribe to Corey if Corey is anywhere.
I just throw my man versus fat stuff on my channel. You know, I've lost this much weight, and this is how bad we lost by.
Fair enough. Love it. Before we go, Stel's under-19 Rhinos FC. What a lovely name and great. Is that picture of you, Stel?
This account's banned from my channel. So what he does is he finds wherever I am and he just goes around saying Stel out, Stel's kids are shit and all that. And it's just, mate, I don't know why I live rent-free in so many people's heads. I don't want to. I don't want to.
Not only that,
I don't coach anymore. I stopped in May last year.
Can you, Stel's Underline Rhinos, if every show you want to put in a super chat, I won't block you like Stel has. Feel free to.
So I've got to put up with it because of you. Great.
Send super
Next
chats.
time we'll have Stel dancing around like a go-go chick doll, yeah?
Say whatever you want about Stel in the super chats. I'll read them out if you're sending me money.
I want 50% of the money. I want 50% of the income.
Stel, come on mine. I'll give you 75%.
Yeah. I can't do next week, Savva. I'm going to Spurs Kings, mate. Sorry. Yeah.
The very last thing. Big up to my man Sanctuary of 7, who's been a member for 18 months.
Just as long as a certain manager's been here.
I'm so sorry that in that 18 months you've had to watch the number of defeats you have on my watch-alongs. Listen, big up to absolutely everyone. Thank you. Please go and spend the time tonight, people, with your loved ones. Just remember, there's a bit more to life sometimes than football. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Take care. Ange out. Levy out. Enoch out. Scott Munn now out. I've got to add him to my out list. Archie Gray in.
Lange out.
Get Lange out. Tea lady out because she only does coffee.
Yeah, tea lady in.
Tea lady out. Get rid of her.
And Marlon, we look forward to seeing you next February for your yearly appearance on the show.
I deserve that.
Danny, do you know what we should do? If everybody in the chat right now, let's see who can put in the best super chat cussing Stel.
Let's wait 10 minutes.
We'll do that.
This is like Donald Trump. I'm going to put tariffs on everyone.
Yeah. We are going. See you later, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.